Hi guys. Hello everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the Unnamed Cricket Podcast. And this name was always in the plan. It wasn't like we had no name for our podcast and Soham just said Unnamed Podcast and we just decided to stick with it. It's not like that. This was in the plan since the start, and
Very well thought out.
yeah, and after the thunderous response that we received for our first video with a grand total of 120 views and 15 likes, we were like, we have to make another one. Our
Mhm.
phones couldn't stop ringing with notifications and comments. I didn't have to force my friends at gunpoint at all to watch the
Mm,
video. So thank you
I
everyone for
mean,
this wonderful reception.
personally, even the IPL franchises were reaching out to discuss their retention strategies with us so that they can get it right for the next season. And I mean, the life has been on an upward curve since then, and we thought that we should just waste no time and get on with the second episode so that the other franchises don't feel left out as well.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get on with it. We discussed five teams last time. Significant updates since then, by the way. Uh, Firstly, today morning, CSK announced that, not announced, but through various sources, it has been confirmed that MS Dhoni is a certainty to be retained by CSK, and not just for this year. He has in fact said in an interview that he's going to play for a few more years. Mind you, Dhoni is 42 years old. He plays with one functioning knee. He does hookah in his off time. And he trains 15-20 days before the IPL. Still smacks India's best all-rounder for three huge ass sixes in Wankhede. So yeah, what does that say about the league though? I thought we are the best league in the world.
Or maybe you just don't give Dhoni enough credit. Maybe you take him too lightly.
See, in my opinion,
Hmm.
Dhoni is now 42 years old, right? CSK is entering another mega auction. So you are building a team for 3 years now. And if you retain Dhoni again, you're basically saying you're going to persist with him till he's 45. And the other wicket keeping options that could have come up in this cycle, like Ishan Kishan, like he's a certainty to not being retained by Mumbai. So CSK could have tried to get him if Dhoni wasn't in their plans. But now CSK can't get Ishan Kishan, right? They have to persist with Dhoni. And maybe, Ishan Kishan will lose out on that opportunity of playing for a team like CSK. I would see maybe Dhoni is a good batsman, but then at some point you have to move on. You won the IPL in 2021. That was the best time for you to walk away because the next year was again a mega auction. He stayed. CSK finished ninth that season, 2022. Mein. 2023 mein you still won, despite all the odds. But then again you decided that it's okay to come for another season. Why can't you walk off at your highest, man? I don't get it. Then again you got knocked out last year. Still you want to come another year, it's insane.
I mean, the way it is, I feel the management is also more than happy to have him around
Yeah, because he's
for
going to get
whatever
the
reason.
fans, he's going to get the eyeballs to the team. But then if you're a serious cricketing franchise, in the best league in the world, you have to think of it like in the cricket perspective, right? And not just these other things.
But just purely from a cricket perspective, take away the tag, take away the age. Would you not want to have someone like Dhoni with the stats he had last year when he was coming in, smashing people off for sixes for fun, sixes and fours, finishing
See,
some
I have
games?
to think of it in a long-term perspective as well. Is he going to be my wicketkeeper for the next 3 years? Surely not. Maybe this year. Okay, and stats wise, purely, I don't think we have a better hitter than him still in the country. He's still among the best. Jadeja, Virat Kohli, nobody can, play like him. But that's all he does. He can't run. He was denying singles to an international like a Daryl Mitchell. He was taking the strike, he was farming the strike. and I don't think all of that gives a good image for the league. And
Farming
yeah,
strikes and strawberries at its downtime. Uh, but yeah, I am personally in the opinion of that even if you look at it from a perspective, now since they have specifically somehow gotten this rule of
this rule
uncapped
is
player
only,
back.
it should be called the Dhoni rule, in my opinion.
But I feel then if you are getting him for a 4 crores as opposed to somewhere like at an 11, I would really think about it. But at a
Yeah,
4, I think he definitely brings in more value than you are getting him at. I would still have him around. Again, you can maybe look to use him as an impact sub when he just comes in and
I
he
think
just
even
bats
that
for
rule
you.
has continued to stay on because of Dhoni only. Like they decided to
It
go
has
away with
gotten
it
out
in
of smat.
the side
Yeah.
Mushtaq Ali, but they've
Hmm.
kept it in IPL. So it's very weird.
They have CSK have okay, now since we are already talking so much about Dhoni, we might as well just go into what we feel the retentions for CSK would be like.
Sure,
But
sure.
talking from a wicket keeping perspective, even they have the young Samir Rizvi who did get a few chances last time around to play, and they have always had Devon Conway who can keep wickets, but he has played as a pure batter. But would he be retained, in our opinion, is something that is to be discussed. So would you like to go ahead first with your retentions for
Yeah,
CSK?
I will. So Ruturaj Gaikwad, captain of the team, has to stay on. I'm not going in the slots because I don't think either Ruturaj or Jadeja deserves an 18 CR slot, but I think they'll work their way around it. But yeah, he'll be the top most retention for sure. Jadeja being second, even though he's been extremely poor in T20s in the last few years, but still for the skill set that he has, for the name that he has built for himself, I think he'll still be retained. Matisha, this Pathirana for sure would be retained by them. I think he's a CSK product, and he has done extremely well in the last season as well. Rachin Ravindra would be my fourth pick instead of Devin Conway because we saw his temperament in the latest series with us. I think he was extremely good. He had a good last year as well, and I see Rachin Ravindra and Ruturaj opening for CSK at the top. And my last retention would be Shivam Dubey. I think he has been one of their best batters in the last 2 years at least. And with the impact player rule and all, I think he really adds another layer to their team. And as much as I do not like CSK because I'm a Mumbai fan, I think they have a good core at their end.
With that yellow t-shirt on, he dares to say that he is not a CSK, he is a CSK hater. But yeah, so you said that you're
I'm
going
not a
to
CSK
retain,
hater. I am,
you're not a CSK fan.
yeah, that's,
Hmm.
I'm a hater of
Okay,
another team which will come in this episode.
okay. So you are going to outrightly retain all these players. You don't want to risk the RTM with them.
See, because if I don't think I will because it's a risk. I don't think my Patirana would go. You know, if I retain him, I'll have to pay 11 to him. They can work their way around it behind the scenes. But if I let him go, and if some other team like Punjab Kings is coming with a lot of money into the auction, so if they even if they decide to do an RTM, the other team always has the choice to raise the
They
bid
have
and
the final
take the
say.
player back. So that's a
Hmm.
risk which I don't think CSK has. These are good players, and I don't think they'll be willing to take a risk with these guys because they can
Okay.
fetch more money in the auction if they enter.
Now, if I talk about the retentions, I have slotted in. I had also slotted in Ruturaj, Jadeja, and Dubey as retentions, and the young wicket keeper from Jharkhand would be my uncapped retention. And I had actually put down Pathirana and Rachin as the two RTM picks. Because if you look at Ruturaj, Jadeja, and Dubey, then maybe you'll use your pure three slots over there. And then
Hmm.
you're back again. If you go by the slots that they have decided, you're back again at 18 and 14. So do I think personally that both Pathirana and Rachin are going to fetch prices higher than 32
Athirana
crores
can
in the
get
auction?
18.
I don't think so. I'm looking at them as a package deal because it's an 18 and a 14 slot. So basically you're going to lock up 32 crores. So can you
Yeah,
get both those players in at lesser than 32 crores in the auction? Possibly.
possibly. Yeah.
Pathirana might have a buzz, but I'm not quite sure about Rachin Ravindra. I mean,
Yeah,
of course, he has had great performances, but he's not your Glenn Maxwell's of the world or your Nicholas Purans of the world. I mean, the New Zealand players generally go under the radar quite a bit. So I think they have a good chance of getting them under the 32 budget if they just use an RTM.
yeah, possibly. But more or less the picks are similar for us. We are also going
True.
with the same picks. They can decide whether they go for an ITM card or use them as a retention. That's
Yeah.
solely up to them. But these are our picks for CSK. One last thing, I mean, Ruturaj is not the ideal T20 player in my opinion. Him, Shreyas Iyer, Virat Kohli, they are all in the same category. They are in the old school of T20 players. Basically, they like to take up more time, and I don't think that's the best thing for CSK because they play at Chepauk and it's a slow pitch, so it can come back to haunt them later on. But they cannot not retain Ruturaj, so they have to
Can
work.
do I doubt that he still can't? I mean, do I doubt that he can get the job done? I feel like he can definitely, even if he starts off slowly, I feel he has the game to pick it up in the later stages. But of course, you are going to have some games in which you take your time and then you get out. You don't get into the accelerating phase. But yeah. Then and always historically CSK have had very deep batting lineup, so maybe they don't
Yeah,
need necessarily. And of course, a lot depends on how they build their squad this year. So it will be interesting to see what
yeah,
the
for sure. Don't think they are winning
and
though for Mumbai Indians. Anyway,
okay,
let's
fingers
move on to
crossed.
our next team.
And okay, before that, I think it is only fair if the viewers know that both of us are biased, and I mean, I can for sure say that I am a Mumbai fan. Aryan has been having second thoughts after the last season, but yeah, so there is always going to be we are always going to be biased there. So yeah,
Yeah,
and you can do nothing about it.
yeah, because it's our show that only we watch.
I I mean, I feel we are the ideal audience. We are the target audience that we
We
aspire
are
for. So
making
it
this
is
for
a very
ourselves.
self-sustaining podcast that we are running here. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think let's move on to the next team. We'll talk about Delhi Capitals. Um,
Okay.
a weird team that has again gone under the radar. We make so much fun of RCB, but we forget that Delhi is also on the same plane as them. But yeah, I think
Trophyless.
they are pretty sorted. Rishabh Pant, although he made a weird tweet at 12 a.m. drinking hours, that if I go in the auction, how much would I fetch? Very weird thing to say. But I definitely think, and the owner has said it himself that he would want Rishabh to be their first retention. Rishabh Pant. Okay, so for me, my picks would be Rishabh Pant, Akshar Patel, and Kuldeep Yadav. So a captain and your wicket keeper and two great best spinners probably in the country. And I think that's a very good deal to have. The other two retentions for me would be their opener, uh, JFK, Jason. What's his? How do you spell it?
JFM. Jake
JFM,
Fraser McGurk.
Jake Fraser Magab. And I think he lit up the IPL last season. He was extremely good. I think I won't retain him, but I would certainly use my IPM card for him and
Yeah.
Christian Stubbs. Now, what this
Mm.
basically means is a very batting heavy department and two quality spinners, and they can go all out in their auction to get fast bowlers and a few top order batsmen. Maybe get David Warner back for cheap, maybe, or I don't know. I don't think with Fraser McGurk being there, if they would still want to persist with David Warner, but I think his time is over at DC. Maybe they can get in some fresh blood. And uncapped retention, you can also think of retaining Rashid Salam, a Mumbai Indians prodigy. I think he was quite good in the emerging T20 Asia Cup.
Yep. Mm.
So these would be my picks for Delhi.
Okay. So I mean, my first two retentions are in. I mean, even the first three. I have Rishabh Pant slotted in. I have Akshar Patel slotted in, and I have Kuldeep Yadav slotted in. But I have him down as an RTM because I still feel like, I mean, it is a gamble. He can go for a higher than 11
Kuldeep
CR, but
11, Kuldeep will surely get 11 or more
I
than
mean,
that.
yeah, if you'll just go back to the previous mega auctions, although his form was not as good back then,
Yeah,
though there was no demand for him. DC got him for some 2.5 crores, and that was a steal. So I think that
yeah,
this
he was
auction
out of
might
the
work on.
reckoning that period. He wasn't considered for the Indian team
Hmm.
either. But right now, with the form he's in, the way he's performed for India in the T20 World Cup, I think he's too good. Man. He cannot not be retained. It will be a stupid decision on DC's part to let him go. It's a risk
Yeah, I mean,
basically.
I'm
If
not
you,
letting him go. I
yeah,
am
yeah,
not letting him go. I'm just having him down as an RTM. So
yeah,
yeah, and so I have these three penciled in. Then I have also retained Mitch Marsh. I think he is also very good
surprising
all-rounder.
pick.
You can have him at number. You can have basically have him bat anywhere, and he can also get you in a few overs. And then I have also slotted Khalil Ahmed as an RTM, and I would also use an RTM for Jake Fraser McGurk. So yeah,
Six players.
I have yeah. So you basically had Tristan Stubbs in, and you had yeah. So I guess Tristan Stubbs is. I don't have Tristan Stubbs in, and you didn't have Mitch Marsh.
Yeah,
That is the one point that we are, and you didn't have Khalil in.
yeah. I think I will probably we can buy him back in the auction. I think he'll cost us much cheaper rather than using the RTM or retaining him. But yeah, well, like I
That
said, the way
depends on
I
how
have
the
set the
auction
team up,
goes.
yeah, yeah. With the way I have set the team up, it's a more batting heavy department with
Hmm.
spinners. They do not have any. You have picked a good mix of fast bowlers as well. So with spinners, I think yeah. Let's see whose picks were
Hmm.
more accurate within four
And we
days.
have we have both dropped off Prithvi Shaw again,
Yeah,
and he is being
Prithvi
even
Shaw
dropped
dropped
out of the
himself, my
domestic
friend.
team.
Yeah, I mean it's just
He's
sad for him.
Can he get a new lease of life in any other franchise? We will see. Now, about
Surely,
talking about new
teams
lease
like
of
Punjab,
life.
etc., will surely go for him. They, he has to work a lot on himself. His form has been declining. He's facing a lot of personal issues as well. So yeah, it's been a tough time for him.
Talking about new lease of life, let's, I guess, move on to the team that ends careers. Let's go to Punjab Kings. Recently, there have been some excerpts from Glenn Maxwell coming out that he has had a rough time with the Punjab Kings management, and
Virender Sehwag has, I actually salute Dhoni for managing these egos all at once. It's been so horrible. He criticized Sarfaraz Khan's father for crying on his debut, and he was praising Dhruv Jurel, but he took a dig at Sarfaraz Khan with no unnecessary drama, no unnecessary. And I'm like, Bhai, come on, you're such a low life. Yeah, don't like him. But yeah,
Okay.
anyway, Punjab Kings themselves are facing a lot of issues here. Um,
As
they
they
do not
always
have,
have.
yeah, as they always have. Can you believe it? They've only qualified for the playoffs twice in 15, 16, 18, 17 years now. It's insane.
Unbelievable. I mean,
So,
yeah,
with the way that their team is set up, they have Arshdeep. I think he'll be a certainty to be either retained or
yeah.
be used as an RTM. But yeah, I do think
Mm,
I think it will be a very stupid decision if they let him go. I was reading
yeah.
reports that they might go full clean slate as they have previously as well. But I don't think they should do that. They should keep Arshdeep
Mm,
at any cost. They have Jitesh Sharma. They have Liam Livingston. They have Kagiso Rabada. They have Rahul Chahar.
mm,
Uh, are they worthy of retaining these six players in 75 crores bracket? I don't think so. Shikhar
mm,
Dhawan has retired, so they do not have a Indian leader as well. They are on the
mm,
lookout for a captain, and I was hoping that if Mumbai and Rohit part ways, I was thinking Punjab would be would be his ideal destination. But yeah, they have to build a team from the bottom. Like they need a captain. They need Sam Curran is also there with
mm,
them, but I don't think he'll be. I don't think they're both being retained in that 75 crores bracket. Is my point. And Shashank Singh said it in an interview that I'm already 32 and I don't want to be retained as an uncapped player for 4 crores. So I would much rather go in an auction where I'll fetch more. So that's also there.
fair.
Prab Simran Singh is there. Maybe I think they'll just go with Arshdeep and Livingston maybe, but I think they are going to go for a clean slate in the auction and just get start afresh with Ricky Ponting at the helm.
I mean, of course, I mean, echoing your emotions, I would have, you would be dumb to not have Arshdeep unless he wants to move out. So I would also have Arshdeep Singh down as a retention. I wasn't aware about the whole Shashank fiasco, but I had penciled him down as a. Ideally, I would want to have him retained, and I had also written down Ashutosh Sharma, who
Yeah,
had a few good performances last year for them. I would ideally want to retain him. Now, if they can't get Shashank, then maybe I would want to have a Simran Singh retained at the top of the order. And I would like if you could retain Rabada, of course, he's a quality bowler. You would any side would he would walk into any side in the IPL. You would want to ideally retain him. Will they get to? Would he want to be retained? Is a different question.
he has not
And
been
so,
performing well for them for the
mm,
last 2 years at least. Maybe that's why I
mm,
didn't consider him to be retained, but he's a quality bowler, no doubt. And if they decide to be with persist with him, I think they'll have two good quality bowlers with them, and it's a good thing for
mm,
them.
yeah. So I basically have Arshdeep Singh down, Rabada down, and the two uncapped players. So that leaves you with two RTMs, which you can either use on Livingston, you can use it on Karan and Jitesh Sharma, depending on how the auction goes. So yeah, I would ideally target those three players with my RTM. And
Yeah,
it's mostly it is a clean slate for them. They
yeah,
don't leave themselves a choice.
they do that to
At least.
themselves every 3 years. But yeah, not much to make fun of them rather than them being fun, a joke themselves. But, uh,
Punjab Kings.
talking about jokes, let's talk about my favorite franchise, Royal Challengers Bangalore. Uh,
Mhm.
do you want to start? I feel I'll talk a lot. You can go ahead.
Okay, I'll just get my retentions out of the way then. Of course, you have to go with Virat Kohli at the top as your
For sure.
retention.
Yeah,
I mean, he has ever since the start of IPL, he has been their go-to player and clutch.
yeah.
And then I
Let's.
want to retain Rajat Patidar as well. I would want to have Maxwell retained. And initially, when I had made this list, I had also jotted down Cam Green to be retained. But ever since then, he has picked up a bad injury. So we are not sure if he's going to play in the next season. But then, is he that good that you would want to play a gambit like MI did with Jofra Archer, that you just spend
Hmm.
money on him and he doesn't show up?
I would like RCB to do that again. I don't mind.
And in the
करो भाई करो.
uncapped in the uncapped category, I would like to get in Yash Dayal retained, hopefully. And
Yeah.
maybe I can use my RTM for Siraj, or I can retain him either ways. So if you don't go in with Green, then I would get an Akashdeep back into the side, because they have historically faced problems with bowlers, and I would like to have as much of that I can have sorted out before. So if you can get a Siraj in, you can have an Akashdeep in, you can have a Dayal in, so you still have a decent pace attack, which
Hmm.
looked very horrible on paper before the start of the tournament last year. But they, except Siraj, the others have performed good enough for themselves. Akashdeep has moved on to the national team. Yes, Dayal still not there, but it was a good comeback after the thrashing he received at GT, and
Yeah.
what he was subjected to after the Rinku Singh innings.
You know
Now
my
you can
retentions
maybe
as
go
well.
into your rant.
No, so I'm just uh, baffled with the choices that these guys make. Last year they did not have a good bowling lineup at all. They had Siraj, who is no doubt improved leaps and bounds as a T20 bowler, but he still leads runs. You had Alzari Joseph, you had David Willey, you had they had Wayne Cardinal as well, and I'm just like, you could have bought. You know, they went up to 20 crores for Pat Cummins when they also they went up to
Oh
20 crores
God,
for
they
Mitchell Stark when they had 26 crores in their purse, and they went up to 20 crores for Stark. And I'm like, had you gotten him, what
how
about the
many?
rest of your team? Like, I don't understand them. But no, aside from that, I think they are well sorted. Virat Kohli for sure would be the top pick. 18 crores. RCB is Virat Kohli. If not for Virat Kohli, RCB would have been another Punjab King or Delhi Capitals. So that's that. Yash Dayal is I think on everyone's list to be retained as an uncapped player. Uh, my RTMs would go. Is Faf du Plessis fit enough? He's 40 years old. He is playing decently well across all the leagues in the world. But again, you are making this decision right now with a 3 year perspective. Is he your captain for the next 3 years? In my opinion, I thought if they decide to move away from Faf, he's no doubt he's a quality batsman. And I think they'll require a foreign opener. And if Virat doesn't step up as a captain, then Faf takes that place. And he is extremely fit. I don't think that he'll falter on that aspect. So Faf would be my RTM as well. Siraj, Will Jacks was a good option for them last year. I would probably do away with Glenn Maxwell because he's been a huge disappointment last season as well. The year before that he was good, but I think RCB can do better with Will Jacks. He's up and coming, and I think that would be a better choice for them. And yeah, they should just go in the auction with the mindset of getting good overseas pace bowlers, because that's one area where they've faltered extremely over the last few years. And this is me being as a good well wisher of for
Nice,
them as I've ever
as
been.
nice as you can.
Yeah, so that's and Rajat Patidar would be another pick that they can think of getting because he again he's a quality Indian batsman and you need these guys in your team.
I mean, no harsh words used. I think we have done pretty good for ourselves. I
Objectively
mean,
speaking.
Yeah, I mean, गाली तो उनके फैन बेस ही दे देते, तो we don't have to.
Ah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping for KL Rahul, and it would have been the perfect match for me, KL Rahul and RCB together. But if he, I think, and after our last video, by the way, I there was no development on this whether KL is not to be retained, not to be retained, and I had said that I would let him go. And reports have come up that LSG are apparently letting him go in the auction. So if RCB are looking for a good batsman at the top, they can maybe go for KL Rahul and then make him the captain. And he's a local boy. It's
Hmm.
going to be a disaster having KL Rahul and Virat Kohli open
Hmm.
because they are not your
Hmm.
ideal T20 players. But
Hmm.
yeah, good for Mumbai though. So let's see what happens with KL Rahul at the auctions.
Interesting, interesting times.
Yeah,
Now we only have the other new franchise that we had left.
yeah.
Winners in their first edition, runners up in their second, and
And eighth
trade in
place.
their third. We have Gujarat Titans. Again, too many speculations about whether Rashid Khan is going to be there, if he's going to get
He should be
went.
there. Ideally speaking, he should be there. There is no way you can let go of a player like Rashid Khan. Just give him whatever he wants, make him your top retention.
Hmm.
But that's just me, I guess. I think they still go ahead with Shubman Gill as their top retention.
I mean, they can cut the pie whatever way it pleases them. So, ideally, I had penciled in Gill, Rashid and I had also Sai Sudarshan down as a retention. I
Yeah.
would like to get Mohit Sharma in as an uncapped retention.
Do you think he's
And
that
then
good still? Not getting any younger.
yeah,
He had
he's
a
not
okay
getting any
share
younger.
last year.
You still sometimes you have to persist with these guys who have. I'm definitely sure that even Ashish Nehra might have some sort of bond with him, so
Yeah.
they value relationships a lot more. So I see Mohit Sharma being there, whether being retained or through an RTM or just outright
And
bought in the auction.
yeah.
And then I would like to also get in Noor Ahmed again in the squad. Maybe retain or RTM, that depends. And then I could my for my last slot I would either have David Miller in or I could have a Rahul Tewatia in. So that they
Yeah.
are the two guys I would it would be a toss up between the two for me. I would be
I
leaning
think
a bit more towards Miller, but yeah.
yeah. For me, if I have to go with the retention slots, 18 mostly surely for Shubman Gill. I think that's what they're going to do. I would preferably have Rashid Khan as my first retention. Then Shubman Gill, Rashid Khan, top two. Then I would
Mm,
go for Sai Sudarshan as well. He's been a capped player for India, and he performed extremely well last year. And so these are my three picks. Now I'm quite conflicted. If I have to return a fourth player, I'll have to give them 18. Do I think anyone amongst the other players is worth 18? No. David
mm,
Miller, uh, I don't think he's worth 18
no,
crores. He'll
no.
probably go for a lot lesser in the auction. So maybe an RTM card for David Miller,
Yeah,
or they can
same.
just move away from that part and decide to build their squad, in a completely
Yeah,
new direction.
also possible.
So their options are open, but these three are, I think, a certainty. I'm not so
Mm,
sure about Mohit Sharma because I don't know if he'll fetch 4 crores in the auction firstly, or because I don't think he plays anywhere else. Does he play domestic? I actually am not aware of, but
I doubt as well.
yeah. So for that reason, I don't think I'll keep him as an uncapped retention. But yeah, these three for
I
sure. They
guess.
can they actually again they are also honestly like Punjab Kings, these two franchises can build up from the ground, like they can just go clean slate. I don't think Rahul Tewatia has done enough to be kept in the team again. Maybe they'll decide to buy him back or an RTM card. The options are open for him, like you said.
Hmm.
So
And I guess the most critical part of their retention is going to be how they and if they manage to keep Rashid Khan, and
Rashid Khan,
I'm
yeah,
quite sure that Gill and Sudarshan would not be that much
yeah,
of a hassle for them, but Rashid Khan is going to be critical. It might make or break their auction because the rest of the players I feel you can find similar players
yeah.
elsewhere. If you don't get to retain them or get them via an RTM, it wouldn't be as much of a loss. So yeah, most of our eyes would be uh, peeled to the screen on the 31st to see what happens around Rashid Khan.
I don't want Mumbai to be the team. Hardik once said कि Mumbai buys the best players. I don't want
Hmm.
us to be associated that way. Like I'm okay not having Rashid Khan just as a fan. I would much rather have him stay at Gujarat and build a legacy for himself. Staying at one place. But the
Hmm.
fact that he's with Mumbai across the world in all the other leagues tilts the balances where extremely in our favor. So yeah, it's a win-win situation for us, whatever
Hmm.
happens. But
Hmm. You just hope they don't splurge like idiots at the auction.
yeah, yeah, because it will
I
ruin our
mean,
balance for other players as well. It can be
hmm,
a repeat of the 2022 scenario. One of our
yeah.
bowlers get injured, if Bumrah gets injured, then what happens to our team then? So that way, I would want to have 20 crores as a safety net and not throw it all on Rashid.
And that is 10 teams now. We just wait up till the 31st and see what
Yeah,
the teams do until then or on them, and we judge ourselves based on how brilliant we were, and we just keep our phones ringing. We are going to get calls from Ashish Nehra on how to possibly keep Rashid Khan in place. But yeah, and it has been fun. Interesting times. 4 days
yeah.
to go until the retention deadline now.
Yeah, it's been fun for us as well recording this on the, you guys requested this, you guys needed us to
So
make this,
specifically.
and that's why we have done it. And I think I've enjoyed it, to be honest, talking about cricket. And yeah, we got 10 new subscribers after our last video. Just,
Woohoo!
just 400 more before we start earning ad revenue. So please
Yeah,
subscribe and.
please subscribe, like, and all the good stuff.
I
Comment.
never wanted to
Yeah,
do all this, but look where we are.
yeah. Anyways, thank you so
Okay,
much for
guys.
watching, guys. The two people, which is basically the two of us who have watched until here. Good night.
Bye, Aryan. Bye,
Bye.
Soham.
Bye,
Bye.
Aryan. Bye, Soham. Bye.